Have you ever gotten excited about a new champion that will definitely be broken? Have you ever recommended a build to your friends that's guaranteed to do tons of damage?
Through his gameplay, Draven can dish out tons of damage and dominate a game.
Have you ever lost your mind over League of Legends' biggest plays?
Everyone's dying in this fight. Reckless goes down. Zatai gets a bunch shot, but Hootie, the double, the triple kill, the quadra kill for Hootie.
If you answered yes to even one of these, then you probably know of David "Phreak" Turley. Phreak is one of the game's longest-serving casters and has grown tremendously along with League of Legends. But in a lot of ways, he stayed true to his roots. And whether you started watching him in 2011...
I'm David "Phreak" Turley. I'm joined here with Joe Miller.
Hello.
Hello.
Or 2019.
Massive brownie points. We can take down Liquid. We'll see who can. There's 5-0 so far, but not 0-5 in Golden Guardians. So, for more on his first victory of the year, Ovly is standing by with the Golden Guardians mid laner.
His love for the game has always been a driving force for the scene. This is his story.
Tons of damage.
In the beginning, Phreak was just a kid who loved video games. But his first foray into competitive games came in Warcraft 3. Phreak had a knack for Warcraft and played the game semi-professionally. And as he improved, he found himself with an urge to teach others how to get better.
I first got into casting when I was maybe 10 or 12 or something. My first sort of inspiration of what I wanted to do in life was something more akin to teaching, that I wanted to sort of share my knowledge or excitement or love or whatever.
In the early to mid 2000s, there was no such thing as YouTube, and sharing commentary on a game was a lot harder than it is today. So the only way Phreak could share his content was to upload replays along with a corresponding MP3 file.
And so my first sort of foray into casting was more in replay commentaries. You know, in modern day terms, it's VOD reviews, but back in the day, you know, you'd like zip up a replay in an MP3 file and upload it to a fan site. And it was more about teaching people the game.
This led to all kinds of creative techniques for syncing a listener's audio and video files. From the traditional,
but I am at the 1 minute mark of the 1x speed from Lynn's point of view, you should be as well,
to the less conventional.
Rain, holla, 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 holla. Oh, damn. I just sang It's Raining Men rap style. 1 minute mark, let's unpause this. If you're not at the 1 minute mark, well, turn back this audio about a minute and a half and listen to my rap again.
As a teenager, Phreak worked for fan sites like WC Replays and WC3 Addicts, while competing in high-level Warcraft tournaments on the side.
Oh, but how can you resist that face? That's so cute. He's like a bite baby almost.
Towards the end of the decade, Phreak was on a Warcraft 3 team that was managed in part by a young Christopher Monte Cristo Michaelis. That led Phreak to become friends with Monty's college roommate, David Byronic Hero Dunn, who had earned an internship with an up-and-coming game developer called Riot Games. Byronic Hero told Phreak that he should apply, and so with almost nothing on his resume except for years of Warcraft 3 content, Phreak managed to land an interview with the company. Needless to say, Phreak got the job, and among his responsibilities was the now iconic Champion Spotlight videos.
A prisoner turned revolutionary, Silas is ready to seize the enemy's power, then break them with it.
Hearing Phreak's voice explain champion mechanics in highly produced videos from Riot is something that fans in 2019 have become accustomed to, but they didn't always look that way.
Hello. Welcome to the Ezreal Champion Spotlight, presented by Riot Games. In this video, we'll be discussing items, runes, and masteries, as well as some fun tricks that Ezreal can pull off.
In the beginning, Phreak did every aspect of the Champion Spotlight videos himself, from recording the audio and gameplay to editing the video. The Champion Spotlight videos ramped up in a big way in 2011 and into 2012 as Phreak's voice became the official first look at gameplay for new champions.
Nocturne's passive is Umbra Blades. Every few seconds, Nocturne's basic attack will deal bonus damage, splash, and heal himself based on the number of enemies hit.
And they made a lot of champions in those years, releasing 24 in 2011 and 19 in 2012.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant,
Vayne, the Night Hunter,
Hecarim, the Shadow of War, Kha'Zix, the Void Reaver.
Change is good.
And, of course, they became iconic enough to spoof in a memorable April Fool's video.
I start the game at level 18, because I'm Lee Sin, the blind monk.
The champion spotlights were also where Phreak coined his most recognizable catchphrase.
I Valkyrie in, which gives me a Trinity Force charge, and I deal a ton of damage. In addition to dealing tons of damage with his abilities, dealing tons of damage to deal a ton of damage. Tons of damage. Tons of damage, and deal tons of damage with Buckshot.
Tons of damage.
The line was so memorable that Riot immortalized it in-game. As Phreak was cementing himself in the community, he was also becoming one of competitive League of Legends' leading voices.
Hello everybody and welcome to the League of Legends, my own game, I can't say it right. League of Legends Season 1 $100,000 Championship, the Global Finals. I'm David Phreak Turley, I'm joined here with Joe Miller.
It was very early in League's competitive history when Riot decided to wrap up their first season of competitive play with a World Championship in Jönköping, Sweden at DreamHack. The event's production was so rudimentary that many fans affectionately joked it was taking place in Phreak's basement. Still, as Fnatic triumphed, as Shushay posed with an unnecessarily open shirt, Phreak was there. He provided commentary and helped decipher a still-developing game for an increasingly large audience. In those early days, it became clear that Phreak's great commentary was in part due to the fact that he was very good at League of Legends. It was obvious that he loved the game, but he also played it at a relatively high level, placing highly on the solo queue ladder in both Seasons 1 and 2. And in Season 2, League's fledgling eSports scene began to explode.
It's the biggest League of Legends event yet. The best players from around the globe are competing for the biggest prize pool in the history of esports. Announcing the Season 2 World Championship.
The 2012 tournament circuit that led up to the World Championship saw League of Legends grow in popularity and caliber of play. And all along, Phreak was there, providing analysis and commentary sprinkled with some really questionable puns.
Oh, it's going to be massive, and of course these teams still allowed to get their own sponsorships and kind of accrue further income. But just pretend that, you know, Season 3 is like you got a Philosopher's Stone and a Heart of Gold, but you can still farm minions just fine. That's kind of how the system's going to work.
Which I know not everyone likes, and I understand that, and I'm sorry if it rubs you the wrong way, but honestly, I'm kind of at a point where people are going to make choices that will not be for everyone. I don't think you can perform, and I think casting is a performance. You can be the most popular singer in the world and people will dislike your music.
And when the year culminated in a World Championship that was nothing like the scene had ever seen, Phreak was there too.
Season 2 Worlds was super awesome because it was transitioning and one of the first esports events that went from being at a general gaming convention or a generic convention just overall to here's a venue just for this tournament, and it was a super cool experience.
Though the Season 2 Championship saw the scene grow beyond anything anyone could have predicted, it was about to get a whole lot bigger. When Phreak was first approached by Riot about creating a North American league for the game in mid to late 2012, he was unsure of its potential.
My first reaction when I heard about LCS, which started in 2013, I heard about it in mid-2012, late 2012, my first thought was that wasn't going to work. Not that it couldn't work, but it wasn't going to work yet. Like, I thought 2013 was too soon, and that was my thought. Maybe not all the players or all the orgs were maybe ready for something like that, and maybe, you know, people weren't quite ready for what LCS was, but overall, it became something awesome.
The game was still relatively new, and there had never been organized leagues in esports on the scale of what Riot envisioned. But with the risk came an opportunity to make esports his full-time job, and he ran with it. It didn't take much time for Phreak to become a fixture on the North American broadcast, as both someone with great game knowledge and, yes, more puns.
So Phreak, how are you enjoying the European side of the LCS?
Well, Shocks, call me McDonald's because I'm loving it. Yeah, that really happened. All right, quick shot. Let's take a look at yesterday's games, Giants.
And as the LCS grew, Phreak's casting evolved. Over time, he distinguished himself with a style of play-by-play that was more analytical than some of his counterparts.
Yeah, certainly I think every caster has their own style, and on play-by-plays, I am arguably the most different.
Unlike other play-by-play casters who excel at hyping up a situation.
Kang looking to come in, here comes your initiation, the race through! Oh my God! Thunder Shockwave will find them all!
Phreak brings a style that allows him to play off his color caster, while helping the viewer to dissect the mayhem that takes place in a professional League of Legends match.
Wild Turtle comes to join in elimination. The flash engaged. The black shield is on. A massive stun comes through. Special low on health. Heals himself up. Odd One chases down Sneaky. Won't get the kill. Wild Turtle goes down to Meteos. Special goes down as well. The repel in the air. A 3 for 0 on this engage.
A broadcast with Phreak on the mic means a deft mixture of analysis with the color caster, sharp teamfight calls, and, of course, the odd pun.
All right, I'm calling in for some backup. Phreak, where you at?
Sorry, Riv Phreak is not here. Call me Earthquake today, because I'm after shocks.
And though Phreak is now a polished caster, it didn't come to him right away. He had to learn to balance the puns with the hype, to read the room and give the audience the reactions they craved.
A double kill for Balls! A triple kill for Balls! Holy cow! Kill for Balls! Holy cow!
Yeah, the big driver for me when I'm casting is to be honest to what the game or the event or whatever it is, right? If it's opening day of the new season, it's a big moment and it's a very serious moment. Okay, something funny happens, yes, you can make a joke, but people are on the edge of their seat because they want to know, ooh, Team Liquid versus Cloud9 with the new rosters, Jensen versus Golden Glue, or Niski or whoever replaces him, right? That's a big deal. If you're game 1 of the World Finals, everyone's on the edge of their seat and every single thing matters. If you're week 7 of the summer split and Clutch Gaming are just in 10th and they can't make playoffs, okay, their games don't mean as much. And so that really influences how I cover stuff. If I'm casting Worlds, there's a lot less jokes because the games are more important.
It's easy to see growth in some of esports' earliest voices, but Phreak is one of the scene's best examples of keeping the heart, humor, and passion of the scene's grassroots days while merging it with the polish and flair of modern casting. And one place that polish and flair shine has always been the LCS, where iconic moments in North America's increasingly large domestic league have often been brought to the masses by Phreak's steady voice.
Wild Turtle gonna be locked up, 2 kills, make that 4 kills, make that almost everyone going down. Cloud9 gonna end the series 3-0. They're gonna take down the Nexus, and they are the North American champions.
Double flow. Meteos, another knockup, trades his life, but it's down. Gets the GA. Double killing them all. Kills everybody. They've got 3. Impact goes down. And A's for TSM.
The Nexus is open. There is no defense. Svenskeren shows up, but the base will fall. Back-to-back sweeps. TL's the best team in North America.
But of course, modern casting shines the brightest on the game's biggest stage. From the first World Championship in 2011 to the most recent one in Korea, Phreak has been the voice of some of the game's most memorable moments. It's on the game's biggest stages, where Riot usually employs a tri-cast format, that Phreak doesn't need to go back and forth with his color caster. And he gets, in some ways, to be that 10 or 12-year-old kid again. The one who loves games and wants to bring that love to the world.
Everyone's dying in this fight. Reckless goes down. Zatai gets a bunch down, but Hootie, the double, the triple kill, the quadra kill for Hootie. And not a single champion can stop them. Fnatic with a 3-0 run in the semi. The first ever world champion hopes to be the latest.
It was always interesting as play-by-play because you kind of, when you think the game is going to end and the team is pushing for the base, you have to start your call because you don't want to sort of sit there hemming and hawing like, oh, will they, won't they? And then hitting Nexus and you're like, will they, won't they? And then they end and you're like, when other crowd's cheering, so you have to shut up. And so you need to project a bit early. And in this case, in game 3, Fnatic, I think, could have won the game and chose to go back for Baron or reset. And so I had 2 endgame calls. I had an endgame call where I'm pretty sure they could have won the game. And it was like, okay, they're gonna turn around and Hibben out. Okay, never mind.
North America will not stand in their way. Korea has not stood in their way. And they will apparently have to wait for a bit longer to see if Invictus will as well.
What I kind of liked about that was, though that was certainly a little bit awkward, I think both were good calls. I had important things to bring up. There was enough story to the match that either one would have worked in isolation and would have felt like a first choice. And so that was just sort of a nice thing for me that I had sort of enough ready that at the spur of the moment, okay, C9 3-0, or sorry, Fnatic 3-0, okay, well, they're the best in the West. Like, they own the crown, Europe goes, this is their year, they're into the finals, that's super awesome. Fnatic, back to their Season 1 title and everything else. So Yeah, overall, I thought just there was a lot on sort of a technical level that went really well at that semifinal.
And the last hope for the West will be Fnatic, the kings of the West, the kings of Europe. It's going to be Fnatic looking to knock it down in the 5v3 to get those last few kills. A desperate engage and a shutdown on the Caps. A few more seconds fought, but look at the blade color. It's everyone dead. Fnatic are the kings of the West, and they will represent in the World Final.
And from the hype to the momentous, it was also Phreak's play-by-play that ushered the world into a new era of international League of Legends.
The upset is complete as the kills come through. The SKT dynasty is over. All hail the new kings, Samsung Galaxy, your 2017 World Champions.
Today, Phreak is one of the longest-serving casters in League of Legends, but his role in the community has changed over time, perhaps into one that the kid who wanted to be a teacher would be most proud of. Phreak has grown into a sort of elder statesman for the scene, and true to his roots, he's put a lot of effort into educating the community. His voice still appears on every champion spotlight.
The righteous shall prevail. Welcome to the Kale Champion Spotlight.
But he's also taken to breaking down meta swings on his YouTube show, Phreak Show.
Welcome back to another episode of The Phreak Show. It is the freakiest time of year, and that means Worlds is in full swing. And I'm going to celebrate that by taking you on a magical journey through the Worlds 2018 metagame. Specifically, I want to talk about 3 champions who may have given esports fans a jump scare.
And streams intermittently, usually doing an exhaustive breakdown of every patch.
Let's talk about patch 9.5. I quite like this patch. I think there's a lot of good changes in it. There's always going to be naysayers who are like, why didn't you do X? But I think it's a good patch.
Perhaps one memorable example of that role in the scene was Phreak's feud with Tyler 1 in 2016.
Tyler 1's not really that much of a personality, though. Like, he's a nobody, and his only marketable skill is being an asshole. Like,
no mana. You have no mana, bitch. You have no mana! Get the fuck out of here! Let's go!
They've since reconciled to some degree, even playing together in a show match at the NALCS Summer Finals in 2018.
I walked into the room. I've never seen a man so gorgeous. A man so, well, bald.
Yeah.
And then I looked at myself and we had something in common.
Exactly. My forehead is so shiny, you're looking at a mirror. That gorgeous man was you.
Aw, wait.
And though Tyler 1 is far from the person Phreak picked a fight with years ago, the memory of their beef has definitely stuck.
Well, so if you go back and watch it, we played Yasuo, then Aurelia, and then Katarina. I won on Yasuo, lost on Aurelia, and I won on Katarina. Do you follow?
That's a 2-to-1 victory.
Yes, but where's the mana?
Now 32, Phreak has come a long way from the days where he fell in love with competitive games and dreamed of sharing that love with the world. He's seen scenes rise and fall, and been at the forefront of arguably the biggest esport ever. He's taken that love, that passion, and that humor and brought it to the masses. He's gone from the corner of a convention center to center stage. And through it all, he has remained uniquely himself. Phreak has ridden the highs and the lows of this wild esports dream with much of the same vibe that made many of us fall in love in the first place. Phreak doesn't come across as the successful celebrity in a burgeoning industry that he is. He still likes to make awkward jokes and play and shout about the games he loves. When you watch Phreak cast or stream, it's easy to feel like you're part of something big, but also something that's just a lot of fun. In a lot of ways, that's what's special about esports, and it's also what's special about Phreak.
Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.